Hey! Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. Evil, evil, evil! I love villains. I love villains. I love monsters, demons, evil creatures. I love evil. Well, not really. More so, I love fictional evil. Real-world evil is, well, evil. It's wrong, it's despicable. But when it comes to media and fiction, when it comes to novels and movies and, of course, video games, I love evil. Because, honestly, in my opinion, the evil side, the villains, the bad guys, always get the best-looking stuff. They get the best-looking characters and styles and locations and themes. And even villains, the bad guys, the evil side, in fiction, most of the time, gets the best stories. How these villains became villains, the origins of how these monsters came to be. Usually some of the best stories around good versus evil, and that evil side being that major deciding factor. Usually it's the bad guys who kick off the story. They start the drama, the dilemma, and a hero must rise up to stop them. Evil, bad guys, villains, antagonists, they've always been an important part of media, of storytelling, of character development. While yes, most people root for the good guys, and there are fantastic protagonist characters, brave heroes and adventurers, soldiers and whatnot. But for me, I love evil, I love villains, I love the bad guys. Again, one of the big deals for me is the looks, because the bad guys get the coolest looking stuff. They themselves look cool, their henchmen look cool. I just love that particular villainous, imposing design when it comes to aliens, monsters, robots. They always get a particular imposing design, something that requires to look threatening. And things that look threatening to me look awesome to me. They appeal to me. The aliens, the monsters, the robots. Ooh, especially the ones that resemble lizards and insects, some of my favorite animals. And when we get aliens or monsters or even robots that resemble insects or lizards, oh man, some of that stuff just looks the best. And sometimes when it comes to creating evil characters, you're allowed to do certain things that you just can't do with a protagonist, because the protagonist, the hero and his allies, companions, the accompanying good guy cast has to be relatable. They have to be something that you can relate to, connect with. Well, every once in a while we get an exception. Usually that exception is meant to send the message of, don't judge a book by its cover, don't be prejudiced against someone because of their looks sort of deal. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, most of the time the bad guys just look better, they look awesome. And I know it's really petty and superficial to just really like characters because of their looks, but I've gotta confess, I gotta be honest. The bad guys look awesome. They appeal to me. The dark colors, some of the more bestial-like natures. And hell, you know what? It's not just the more fantastical bad guys. It's not just the monsters and the aliens and the robots. It's also the human characters. It's also the human villains. Movies nowadays don't put that much of a heavy emphasis on the villain anymore, on the bad guys. It's always these stock, cliched villains. All with usually the same motivation: money. That's why it's so nice I can play a video game where I fight actually interesting bad guys. Villains that are unique and one of a kind. Handsome Jack and his army of self-aware, comedic robots from Borderlands. The otherworldly and imposing Reapers from Mass Effect. Or hell, let's go with a classic, the Decepticons from Transformers. Sure, everybody loves the Autobots and Optimus Prime and yada yada yada, but Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, badass villains. And they look cool as hell. You can't deny that the Decepticons just look so much cooler than the Autobots. And that's a perfect example of just why I like the villains more. Not just for the aesthetics, even though it is a great deal of the aesthetics and just how evil factions, evil characters in fiction usually look. Usually the bad guys, the villains, they're usually so much more interesting. Because with them being the antagonists, they're doing something wrong. And it's fascinating to understand their mindset as to why they're doing this thing that is wrong. Because it's something they really believe in? Because this is retribution for something else? Because they've been confused or manipulated by something else? Or maybe some other reason altogether. Villains just... I find villains so much more attractive, so much more interesting than the hero characters. However, that doesn't make me a bad guy by any means whatsoever. I know there's going to be at least one person who watches this video and gets confused like, he loves evil, he loves bad guys, he loves villains, he must be a bad person, he must be an evil person. No. Believe me, I never ever want to hurt anyone, kill anyone, God forbid, steal from anyone, do wrong to anyone. It's just when it comes to fiction and the media I consume in certain types of stories with a variety of characters, I usually prefer the villain characters. I don't know why, I have a thing for red eyes, spikes, the color black, and evil laughs. Oh man, I love evil laughs. Now, I can't exactly pinpoint the main reason. I can't pinpoint the most exact reason as to why I prefer villains, why I prefer evil over good when it comes to fiction and fictional stories. That's just who I am, that's just what I like. In Star Wars, I love the Empire, I love the Sith. In Warframe, I love the Grineer Corpus and infested enemies. I love just about almost all the villains in the DC and Marvel universes. The Joker, Venom, Ultron, love them all. Again, this is just me. I know there's a lot of people out there who share my passion for the villains in fiction, who share my passion for these characters. There's just something about looking at the dark side, especially when it comes to fiction. There's something about embracing these villainous characters, these bad guys, these evil things. There's just something about embracing these fictional characters, like, we're able to connect with the dark sides of ourselves, because we all have our dark sides. We all have those bad thoughts. We never act on them. God forbid, don't you ever act on them. I'm never going to act on them. We have those dark sides where sometimes we think something's right even though we know it's wrong, and that we're able to connect with villains on a certain level. Not on a complete level, because a lot of villains are murderers and psychopaths, but on a certain level we can connect with some villains, we can relate to some villains. And with the fiction found in books, movies, and video games, we're able to connect with and introduce ourselves and love some crazy, wild, evil characters. I love fictional evil. I love the bad guys. Don't know why, that's just who I am. I wouldn't have it any other way. So, let me know in the comments section, who are some of your favorite bad guys, favorite villains? They don't just need to be main characters, they can be henchmen, they can be a random monster, they can be a villain from any genre, any sort of media. Just, why do you love evil? Do you love evil as much as I do? Do you love villains? Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section. I love reading comments. Please leave a comment. I love to read those comments. And if you liked the video in any way, shape, or form, if you enjoyed the gameplay presented, if you enjoyed my commentary, my opinion, if you liked the video whatsoever, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved with the video if you hit the like button. And I am the Gamertron. I love video games, and I love talking about video games. And if that's something that interests you, maybe consider supporting my channel by subscribing to me. Anyways, guys, this has been a video, and I will see you guys later. And don't forget to get your evil on. Sorry.